Good morning, everybody. This is Angie Oldenburg coming to you from Wisconsin in the US. I am going live. Hopefully you guys watched Elizabeth's presentation earlier. If not, you can go back and watch it. And of course, you can always watch the ones yesterday that you missed as well. Good morning, Martinette. Looks like I'm on. I'm just going to see if I can pull myself up on my laptop as well. There we are. Okay, so hopefully I can see some comments, but if I don't, I will comment later. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about how this card came to reality because it was quite the journey. So this is using a couple new products or new stamp sets. This one is Watercolor World. It's a background stamp. And then I also use the Kind and Sincere Sentiment set. And those are both in the new mini. And then the Designer Series paper behind here that I used as the background is from this absolutely massive paper pack that is a celebration item. So look at how thick this is and how many pages of paper there is. This is huge. I don't know that I'll ever use all this. It's crazy. So anyway, I wanted to use some of this up. So I'm just going to kind of tell you a little story about how our designs can change and how sometimes creativity doesn't happen like it does at other times, I guess I would say. Here's the card that I started out with because I liked this paper and I wanted to use Coastal Cabana. And so this is the first card that I did. And it was okay, but I didn't love it. And so a lot of times when that happens to me, if I'm trying to create a card and I don't absolutely love it, I leave it sit for a day or two. I try to do my stuff ahead of time. And then I went back to it and I still didn't love it. And that was last night. So last night I had to play, and that's okay because playing is fun. And then you get to try all kinds of different combinations of things. So I'm just going to show you some of the iterations that I went through to get to the final card really quick. So this was the first one. Then what I did with this background stamp, I tried different combinations of colors. And so I used up a lot of paper, but the nice thing about paper is you can flip it over and you can try other things. That one's blank actually, look at that. But this one has something on the other side. So I did all kinds of different color combinations and I finally came onto this one and I really liked this one, which is what got me to the final product eventually. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And then of course I also couldn't decide on which color I wanted the greeting to be. So I did it in different color combinations, different embossing colors, etc. So now I have all these bits and pieces I can put together for other cards. So that actually turned out okay, but it took quite the process and quite a few times playing with combinations of things to find the right one that I wanted. So just wanted to share that so that you all know that we kind of go through that stuff too. Sometimes creativity doesn't just come and you have to kind of futz with it and kind of play and experiment, and then you find something that you end up liking. So the one thing I would challenge all of you who are watching, in all of the presentations that we're doing, we would love to see what you make as a result of being inspired by these. So if you find something that one of us does or all of us do, and you make a card based on that, whether it's the same or you use a different stamp set or a different DSP, we would love to see pictures of those. So please post them below the demonstrator that inspired you to make that card. We absolutely love seeing those examples, and that gives us more inspiration. Okay, so this is the final product. I'm going to put that up here. Basic crumb cake card stock for the card itself, and I'm going to put that aside. I already embossed the white greeting, so I didn't have to mess with that on film or on live. If you've ever embossed on vellum, it does get a little tricky as far as getting it in the right place and not having it blow away when you're trying to emboss it. But I figured most of us kind of know how to do embossing, so I did that ahead of time. So measurements on this one is pretty basic. The basic card base, the designer series paper is just, it's 5.5, so the same length as the card. And then I cut it at 4 so that there'd be just a little bit of an edge on the top and bottom. Because this background stamp is so wide, I didn't want to cut off any of the countries if I could help it. So I had to go all the way across the full length of the card. Now if you're using centimeters, your card's a little longer, so you won't have as much of an issue with that, I don't think. And then I just cut the greeting on the vellum the same length, so that that's easy measurements for that. Okay, so let me show you how I did the world. I used my Stamparatus, and this is where it was challenging to figure out how to ink it up and how to not get my ink pads all messy and combine colors and ink pads and things like that. So that was a bit of experimentation. So the colors I used were Mango Melody, Coastal Cabana, and Calypso Coral. And where I got those colors is from that designer series paper pack. Those are the colors of the paper in that package. So actually I could use any of those DSPs for backgrounds for these cards because I pulled it right out of there. So I set this up ahead of time, and you can kind of see what I've done. But and I think Martinette did a great job of showing us how to set up your stamp in the Stamparatus yesterday, because she had the same ideas that I did actually. So I just draw, if I'm going to do multiples of these, I just draw a little line, or on my grid paper of where I put my paper, so I know where to put the next piece if I'm doing more than one. And then use the magnets to hold it in place. I'm gonna move it over so you guys can see what I'm doing here on screen. So you're gonna want to start with the lightest color usually if you're gonna be stamping onto a background stamp and then adding other colors. So this is the Mango Melody, so I'm just gonna ink that up. And honestly, it does not matter if you don't get it fully covered, because the advantage of the Stamparatus is that you can go back over it. So the first layer is just that. Now, there are probably 15 different ways of doing this as well, because you can certainly use markers on the stamp and do different colors there. And that's kind of what I was doing some trial and error on, which one I liked the best. And see here, I missed a little bit in the middle, but that's okay because I'm going to go in with other colors. So you can color right on the stamp to get different colors, or you can do it this way that I'm doing it. So I did just the base color first, and then I've got sponge daubers, and I'm going to take my Calypso Coral and my sponge dauber. Make sure I got the right color. Yeah. I know, some people like to keep their mat clean. I'm not one of those people. I get it messy. So I see that over here in Russia and Asia, I was a little bit thin. So I'm gonna put some ink in there. And then I'm just gonna kind of add color in different areas. And now if you want to be really precise, you can, but honestly, every one of these is going to come out different, even if you try. So I just want to push down evenly. I use the Stamparatus for all of my background stamps just because, ooh, that's pretty. That turned out good. So that was one layer. And then I used, back what I was saying, I used the Stamparatus for all my background stamps because I inevitably will drop that big block and I'll make a mess on a card. So I use the Stamparatus. So I'm also going to bring in my Calypso, oh gosh, not Calypso Coral, Coastal Cabana. Wow, that was an old name that came out of Oh, sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up. Calypso Coral is one I just used. Boy, it is early in the morning and I've only had 1 cup of coffee. Okay, so I'm gonna add in a little green. Where should we add it? Maybe just a little in Australia, or the up in here. Kind of want to make it random. One of the things that kind of inspired me to do this, I saw actually somebody made a home decor item with a rainbow color on this world background stamp, and I thought that was gorgeous. At some point I might try to do that. So that's kind of cool. It's a little bit more bold. So the other thing that you can do then, if you want to, if it's too bold, you could always go back in with either the yellow or the Calypso and kind of, because most of the ink is on the paper now when you're stamping, putting ink back on the stamp. So you're not gonna pull a lot off of there. You can clean your dauber off a bit. Before you put it back on the ink pad. You don't want to mix up your ink colors. There. I think that's good enough. The green was definitely heavier on that one. So that's why I said everything's going to be different. It's never going to come out the same. So, and then the other thing I did was use my blending brush. Now, if you have, hopefully you guys have been getting your new catalogs. If you haven't, contact your demonstrator. We have mini blending brushes that is new in the spring mini catalog. So they're even smaller than our other ones, which is kind of nice for storage. But that's what I'm just going to use here quick to just kind of give the ocean a little blue-green color with the Coastal Cabana. And it kind of mutes down some of the, you know, if you get a little heavy with the other colors. Oops. And you can make your world whatever color you want to make it based on other papers that you're using. Move the stamparatus out of the way. Also closing up my ink pads so I don't get my elbows in them. Turn the world the right side up. And then very easily layer this. I'm going to leave that one open for just a second. And I just used our Stamp and Seal to adhere it. All right, so the other thing I want to hear from you guys is, what are your New Year's plans? I'm just going to trim this off the edge because it got a little long, looks like, on this side. Are you going out? Are you staying in? Watching the New Year's come in on TV. We have a tradition, my husband and I, of getting Red Lobster, which for those of you in the UK is a chain of seafood restaurants. It's just one of those things. We had gotten a gift card at one point in our early part of our marriage, and so we just kind of made that our tradition. I'm going to put a greeting on the inside of this here too. So this card I originally was going to make, I was going to tell you why I made this card. Here in the US, we have an organization called Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And I used to be a big sister years and years ago. And my little sister and I were matched. It's a mentoring program. We were matched from the time that she was in 5th grade through when she graduated from high school when she was 18. and we have kept in contact over the years. And actually, I'm not going to stick that down quite yet. She just graduated from her master's program, so that is who I've made this card for. All right, so I'm going to actually use just some glue dots to stick the vellum down. Find it. So I just use the pokey part of the take your pick tool to kind of roll them up into a ball, and I found it worked pretty well to put it on in the O's of the congratulations. I couldn't really see them from the front. You always want to hide however you adhere your vellum pieces. And then I did put one kind of up in the corner because I covered it with a pearl, just to have it hold a little bit more snugly. Yes, Elizabeth, I agree completely. This young lady, it's one of those things where I got just as much out of that relationship as because I was young and single and had just moved to the area, that we spent so much time together having fun while she was young and growing up, and you never know what kind of impact you make on people until they tell you 20 years later. So yeah, she brought me to tears when she told me about her graduation and actually invited me to the dinner that they're having at her business. The MBA program at UW Milwaukee's having a special dinner for the graduates. Yeah, she invited my husband and I to go attend that. And so we're going to head to Milwaukee in January to help her celebrate. So, yeah, it's very, very touching to know that you influence people in a positive way. So I'm guessing teachers get that experience a lot, but not always everybody else. All right, so I just wrapped the baker's twine around about 3 times and kind of crisscrossed it to make it spread out a bit. And then you're gonna just try to make it even top to bottom. So congratulations. And then it says are in order. So I thought that was a cute saying. The other kinds of sayings that are in this group, the stamp set are really fun. Be kind, congratulations on your big news, thanks. You can make all different kinds of combinations. I love the stamp sets that are like that are versatile. The other thing I wanted to do is just add this little leaf in for a little bit of detail on the inside by the greeting. Just grab a little block. I might put a leather. I'm going to leave that for now because I don't want too many glue dots showing. I'm going to show you what I did with the pearls here quick. These are the iridescent basic pearls. Just add a little bit of additional something, and I'm going to put it right over where that glue dot was on that side. And then just add a few random. I might have to tack this edge down just a bit. Just a smidge of tape so that it tacks down. There. Okay, that is my card. Simple, but kind of fun, a little bit different. Like I said, every one of them are going to turn out differently. You can see the 3 that I did all look a little bit different. depending on what you stamp with, how heavy you are on the coloring. And so yeah, it's kind of fun. I did try this one with shimmery white paper, and I don't know if you can see it. It adds a little bit more of a shine, but I didn't feel like it was that much of a addition, so I went back to just basic white for the other ones. All right, hope you had enjoyed that card. Again, we want to see your inspiration, what you make from our samples. So post them below the person that was inspiring for you, and so that we can see what you make. And I am about done. The next person is, oh gosh, I should know. I think it's Katie. She'll be up at about 9. And if you have any questions, let me know below. Otherwise, if you want to order, talk with the demonstrator who invited you to the group. And I hope you have a wonderful new year, and we'll see you next year. Bye.